We come before the text with a specific question. YHWH, give us the latest Bible prophecy on the war in Iran, Persia, Elam, and Edom for this day today. The lead verse drawn to address this is First Chronicles chapter 29, verse 21. It says, "And they sacrificed consecrated sacrifices to YHWH, and offered whole burnt offerings to YHWH on the next day following, even 1,000 young bulls, 1,000 rams, and 1,000 lambs with their drink offerings and sacrifices in abundance for all Israel." This verse sits at the close of First Chronicles, where David transfers the kingdom to Solomon. The people have given free will offerings. Then, on the next day following, they sacrifice 3,000 animals. This threefold measure signifies completeness. It is the language of regime transition under covenantal authority. The draw opens when one king era ends and another begins, and the response is worship, not war. The Father frames your question inside a narrative of transferred authority and consecrated response. Kings are being loosened from their bonds, as Job chapter 12, verse 18 declares. The question is whether the covenant people will respond with consecrated sacrifice or false human diplomacy. The text reveals a profound sequence. 4 drawn verses form a tight Passover consecration pattern. Exodus chapter 12, verse 11 establishes the sacrifice of Passover. Numbers chapter 9, verse 13 warns of the penalty for neglecting it in its appointed season. Leviticus chapter 8, verses 2 and 3 describe the consecration of the priesthood at the appointed place. Finally, Joshua chapter 5, verse 11 states that on the next day after the Passover, Israel ate the old produce of the land. This sequence moves from institution to warning, to priestly consecration, to entrance into the land. The Passover is the original night of judgment through deliverance. The same night bringing judgment on the oppressor brings deliverance to the covenant people. The phrase "on the next day" directly mirrors the lead verse. The draw is bookended by this language of the day after transition, the day of new provision. Yet, a prophetic warning chain is woven through this text. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 21 states, "I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran." Jeremiah chapter 28, verses 1 and 2 record Hananiah falsely declaring that the yoke of the king of Babylon is broken. Then Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 14 gives the principle. "They have healed also the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying peace, peace when there is no peace." These verses are spaced through the draw like a recurring warning. Do not trust voices declaring the war is over. Premature announcements of deliverance are a deception. Those who cry peace when there is no peace heal the hurt only superficially. The draw also traces a geographic arc. It names territories stretching from the Arabian Peninsula through the Transjordan to the heartland of Israel. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 6 names Midian, Ephah, and Sheba, the approaches to Persia. First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 55 mentions Hemath, while chapter 5, verse 16 names Gilead, Bashan, and Sharon. Numbers chapter 21, verse 32 mentions Jazer, and Numbers chapter 13, verse 22 mentions Hebron. Acts chapter 8, verse 26 traces the road down from Jerusalem to Gaza. The draw does not mention Persia or Elam by name, but it traces the exact corridor of nations through which an army would march toward Jerusalem. This geographic arc is not random. It draws a map. Military and prophetic weight is carried by the imagery of the eagle and the breach. Hosea chapter 8, verse 1 commands, "Set the trumpet to your mouth. He will come as an eagle against the temple of YHWH, because they have transgressed my covenant and revolted against my law." The eagle is a recurring image for a swift, descending military force. The military threat is framed as a covenantal consequence. Amos chapter 4, verse 3 gives the aftermath. "You will go out at the breaches. The city wall is broken, and the people pour out through the gaps." This is siege imagery. This is deepened by 1 Kings chapter 8, verses 36 and 37. "If their enemy besieges them in the land of their cities, YHWH is asked to pardon the covenant violation and teach them the good way. The divine response to siege is pardon and instruction, not merely military retaliation. The oppressor is portrayed in Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 34. Nebuchadrezzar, the king of Babylon, has devoured me. He has crushed me. He has made me an empty vessel. He has swallowed me up like a dragon. This oracle addresses the region that succeeded ancient Elam and Persia as the dominant power. The dragon that swallows and devours is the image of an empire, crushing and casting out the people. Yet the oracles against Elam and Babylon point forward to a restoration promise, where the captives are brought back. The answer to this devouring force is found in the extraordinary breadth of the sacrificial system represented in this draw. Every major category of Israelite sacrifice appears here, including burnt, grain, sin, trespass, peace, drink, Passover, and freewill offerings. The response to war among the nations is not more war, but consecrated sacrifice unto YHWH. David did not go to war on the next day following the transfer of kingship. He sacrificed in abundance. The temporal arc of the draw moved from the next day to the third day. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 12 mentions coming again the third day. In the corpus, the third day carries resurrection significance. The draw moves from transition to resurrection and restoration. Genesis chapter 8, verse 5 notes that in the 10th month, on the first day, the tops of the mountains appeared. This is the first sign of dry land emerging after the floodwaters of judgment recede. The mountains appearing signals that judgment is ending and a new world is becoming visible. This is paired with Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, because your light is come, and the sacred glory of YHWH is risen upon you. The statistical layer confirms this deepened textual reading. The Dominion Triad, representing identity, inheritance, and priesthood, fires at a discovery level of 6.61 sigma, with a non-randomness index of over 1,000%. The guided draw extreme anomaly is confirmed, with a combined probability effectively at 0. The polarity balance index leans affirmative at plus 1.053, indicating covenantal favor. Despite the war imagery, the draw polarity leans toward favor and illumination. The triple convergence standard is met with all channels active. The deterministic inquiry answer is a lean yes, with a probability of yes at 93.8%. The Father affirms he is speaking through these events. What is the Father saying to us today regarding this war? He is saying this is a Passover season where judgment and deliverance occur in the same night. The night bringing death to the oppressor brings deliverance to houses marked with blood. He says, do not trust voices crying peace, for the ceasefire is superficial healing when there is no peace. He says the nations between Israel and Persia are drawn into the corridor, but ultimately they will bring priestly incense and publish the praises of YHWH. He says the devouring dragon will be answered by consecrated sacrifice, not by more war. The response to siege is repentance and consecration. Finally, he says the light is rising. This is the next day. The draw opens with the next day, following and points to the day the light has come. Between them is fire, shattered peace, and the trumpet sounding, but the trajectory is upward. The war will end not in the peace of diplomats, but in the gathering of nations to the name of YHWH in Jerusalem. The text speaks, and the numbers confirm. The trumpet has sounded, the Passover pattern is active, the false peace is shattered, and the light is coming on the next day. The verses drawn in this Shield 17.12 session were First Chronicles chapter 29, verse 21, Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 45, Enoch chapter 52, verse 4, 1 Kings chapter 9, verse 9, Judges chapter 17, verse 9, Galatians chapter 3, verse 14. This concludes today's interpretation under the Shield Protocol.